My name's Gary Whittaker, and I'm 34 years old. I was diagnosed on it's a date I'll never forget. I was diagnosed on the 13th of December 2008, and I'd been ill for quite a while. I had a lot of stomach pains and I'd sort of been losing weight rapidly. And it got to a stage where I was sort of so ill that I just, the doctor said, look, you need to go into hospital and have some tests done. And one of the sort of doctors said to me, if you had an HIV test, and I was like, no. And he went, well, I think you should. And I was sort of told within the hour that I was positive, and I had an HIV-related illness that was actually sort of quite serious. And they said to me that I should stay in. And it was initially for a few days, but as the time went on, they realised that my illness was actually quite serious, and I was in hospital for about a month. I had a thing called cyclomegalovirus, which is basically the lining of the inside of my stomach disappeared, so food and nutrients wasn't absorbed into my body, and I was really, really ill through that. And just one test 3 years ago would have saved, me being like really, really ill. I took a first set of medication, and there was a high risk that I would have a rash from them, as about sort of 60% of people do. Unfortunately, I was one of those that had an allergy to it, and I ended up looking like a tin of spam, and it wasn't pleasant at all. So it kind of added to the trauma of coming out of hospital for about a week or so. So I couldn't go out, and it wasn't the best of experiences, to say the least. And then I was given a new medication, and touch wood, it's been absolutely amazing. It's kind of brought my viral load down to undetectable, which means that my HIV is at bay, and it's absolutely worked wonders from how ill I was nearly 2 years ago to now being fit and healthy. It's totally turned things around. I was worried about certain people's attitudes, because I have got gay friends who are really, who sort of, and bearing in mind the gay community drums a lot about HIV and AIDS, who are sort of quite ignorant. And a friend of mine who I sort of had dinner with, and a really good friend of mine, would just go over and dinner and say, oh God, if someone had HIV, I'd scald the plates and stuff like that. This was pre-diagnosis. Like that. So when I found out, and I actually bumped into him one evening, and I told him, and he was like, oh, okay, and kind of stopped and sort of thought about it, and he went, well, I'm sorry about that, and he gave me a hug. So I think people see the person as opposed to the illness, and I consider the fact that I don't suffer with HIV. I live with it, which is two sort of totally different things.